Hey everybody, so this is Kevin, and I am making a video about my New Year's Eve experience with a friend who has asked not to be named, so I will call her Jay. But if you go on Facebook, you can probably figure out who it is. Anyway, Jay and I went to Boston with her friend, who I guess we can call J2, and had quite an adventure. So rather than have to keep reiterating the story because it's January, so for the next month all we're going to talk about is what we all did for New Year's Eve. I'm just going to make a video about it, and then I can just direct people to this video. So I have always spent New Year's Eve here in Providence. And this year I decided that I was not going to do that because I tend to be cursed when it comes to New Year's Eve. I tend to always have bad New Year's Eves. So, for a variety of reasons, one time I was couldn't get into the club I wanted to go to, so I rang in the new year on a sidewalk with a bunch of drunk girls uh, who I think called me Eduardo at one point. Did not kiss them because they didn't want to. And then another year, I just sort of wandered aimlessly downtown, and that was depressing. I think one year I spent at home watching watching the Nickelodeon stars ring in the new year at what looked like Six Flags Great Adventure. So needless to say, just I decided I had to break the curse this year. So I um, took up an offer from my very kind friend Jay to go to Boston and do New Year's Eve there, and I was pretty sure that would break the New Year's Eve curse. So we got there to Boston at around 3, and Jay put us up in a really, really amazing, awesome hotel. And then we went to go and get like snacks and drinks and stuff for the hotel, and we crossed a parade route. And when we were on the way back to the hotel, we found out that you actually couldn't go back across the street. We actually spoke to a policeman who said that we would get arrested if we tried crossing the street, because apparently now you can arrest someone for crossing in front of a parade route in Boston. I think you can also get arrested for trying to raise a mule as your child, but that's another story. Um, so yeah, so we had to get on the T and go one stop up and then inbound another stop, and on the way back we were crammed pretty tightly into one of those cars. It was cozy, everyone was using deodorant, thank God. So that was, a little adventure, and I was thinking, ooh, is the curse beginning? But I was like, no, no, it's fine. It's just funny, funny stuff. So at around 9:30, we decide to go to the straight club where we were going to start the night. We were going to do half the night at the straight club, and then at midnight we were going to go find a gay club to go to. Now, I should mention, and hand on a Bible, every year, whenever I ask people where they've gone for New Year's Eve, they've always said either New York, but a lot of people said Boston. So I texted everyone I knew from Boston and said, where do you go in Boston? I've never been out to a club or a bar in Boston before. And nobody could really give me a straight answer, which was kind of funny because you would think there'd be one place that would be like the default place, but no. But I was like, whatever, we'll play it by ear. So we go to the straight club, and within 5 minutes, Jay and J2 are both accosted by this drunk boy whose name is Kyle, and I'm not changing his name because he said he was from Kansas City, and God only knows where he is now. But I don't feel any urge to protect him. His name was Kyle, and he wore a hat, and he was very drunk, and he proceeded to make out with Jay, and then J2, and then Jay, and then J2, and then he got really drunk. Well, he already was really drunk, but he got like sloppy drunk, fell over, and at this point it was maybe about 10:30, and the security guard had to like lift him up, and put him onto this little banquet, which I'll get to in a second, and asked Jay if she would take responsibility for him, and of course she did not want to because she's smart, and he was so drunk that when they brought him over to the side, he started eating ice from an ice bucket. He also came with a friend who I believe we never got the name of, but who proceeded to make out with Jay, and then I think Jay too, and then Jay again. Um, in the club, there were these couches um, that you couldn't sit on unless you paid a lot of money. Now, my friend was so gracious, she bought all of us tickets and spent a lot of money to get into this place, but apparently you had to spend even more money to sit on the couches that were in the middle of the room. Otherwise, you had to sort of dart through the couches. But there were these banquettes, which were these little like squares. And when we got there, one of the like attending girls off to the side said, "Oh, you'd be amazed what I've seen people do on those." To which my friend Jay said, "That sounds intriguing." I believe. And we had a bartender named Tolly, not Shorty, but Tolly. She was very nice and very pretty. And pretty soon the place was filled up with straight people. But I thought I saw a glimmering oasis in this crowd of straight people as my two friends were making out with people. I saw a guy with a bow tie who was sort of dancing around, very much like this, but like with more rhythm. And he had a bow tie, had a bow tie, okay, and was sitting sort of like this, and you can't really tell, but he was sitting sort of like this. And I don't mean to make generalizations, but bow tie sitting like this, dancing around, okay. So my friend Jay, being the good wing woman that she is, decides to go up and talk to him and see what the story is. And he says that he is straight. Now, Boston, I don't know what your sort of gender definitions are, but can you put the word out to the straight guys that bow ties and cross-legged and this is not, it's not really fooling anybody. Um, so people are making out. Jay is now on like the fourth guy that has, and I should mention she has not, neither her nor J2 have initiated anything. The guys were just flocking to them. They were just coming out of the woodwork to make out with them. They were literally, it was like angry birds. They were just coming at them. At one point, after midnight, when we had met this really lovely girl that we called Uma Thurman, um, who I believe I did kiss at midnight on New Year's Eve, which I think is a sign of good luck. I kissed Uma Thurman at midnight. So we decide to leave, and Jay is at the bar talking to this guy and his friend, and both of them are trying to hit on her. And at one point, both their hands are like around her waist, and they're actually just sort of caressing each other, and they don't even realize it. And that was I enjoyed that. Um, so then we leave there at 12, okay, in search of a gay bar. And I'm still getting a bunch of different responses. So we pick one, we get in a cab, and the girls were so nice, and they were like, "Oh, you were such a good sport." And I was like, "It's fine." And we get to this bar, we get out, and I realize my phone has been left in the cab. And I've never left my phone in the cab. Keep in mind, I don't drink. I am stone cold sober at this point, and I have just left my phone in a cab, which is the quintessential drunk thing to do. So now I'm freaking out. We're trying to call the Boston Cab Company. We're trying to like figure out how we can. I'm calling the phone, trying to hope someone answers it so I can get them to come back. And then after 5 minutes, I see our cab with our driver drive by me, and there's a red light. I run to the cab, knock on the door, get the phone from the back seat of the cab. Phew. Okay. So there was a stroke of luck. So despite the New Year's Eve curse, there was a stroke of luck there. We get to this club and find out that like downstairs is like lesbian night, and upstairs is like, you know, pony play, come dressed like a vampire and smear Oreos on each other kind of night, and we're just not doing that. So then we get in the cab, we go to this other bar, which sort of resembles like a Chili's with a bar at the back of it. Um, and we walk into the room, and the pretension in the air hit me like a slap across the face. Everybody there, first of all, most of them were in couples, um, and like they were all coupled up, and everyone else was just. Now, keep in mind, I'm from Providence, okay? And Providence gays, you know what I'm talking about here. We're not the friendliest group of people. God knows we're not, the type to walk over and say, "Hey, how are you? My name's Kevin." Yeah, okay, fine. But these Boston gays have taken being rude to like a new art form. And I don't mean to generalize because I do know some nice Boston gays, but the Boston gays that were at this club on New Year's Eve were the rudest collection of people I have ever seen in one place in my life. There was one. I should mention, we get there, and 5 minutes after we get there, Jay gets grabbed by some guy, and he pulls her on the dance floor and starts making out with her. That proceeded to happen with two more guys at the gay bar. That's how good she is. Okay. Um, one guy sort of pulls me aside, and he's there with his boyfriend. And he says, "You know, it's so weird. There's just a lot of couples here tonight. I don't know why that's happening, but you know, you should know that you're very gorgeous." Which I think he was exaggerating a little, obviously, but very sweet of him to say. Yeah, I probably just looked really depressed. Um, and he was like, you know, but you're really gorgeous, and you don't want to like talk to anyone here anyway. It's New Year's Eve, and you know, everybody just wants to goof off and whatever. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I want to goof off. I'm not from here. I spent New Year's Eve somewhere where I'm not from, away from people I know, so that I could be one of those obnoxious people that I would judge back where I'm from. So that's what needs to happen. I don't want to be like sort of, you know, nice mature adult guy tonight. Uh, so by the end of the night, it's like 1:40, and I think the place was open till like 2:30 or 3, but we were like, this is pointless. Go to get my coat, lost my coat check ticket, guy wouldn't give me my coat. I have a very cheap coat. It's not a nice coat. I don't own nice clothing. I mean, I don't. I don't have nice anything. So I basically was like, can you just give me the cheapest coat that's back there, and I'll go home with it. Wouldn't do that. He was like, no, you have to wait till everybody gets their coats, and only then can you leave. Now keep in mind, we had only just gotten there like an hour before. I'm sure he probably remembered me, or you know. And I was like describing my coat, and he wouldn't give it to me. And Jay freaks out and is like, you're basically being a dick to my friend right now. And he has her removed from the club. Removed, okay? Like this is Studio 54 and not Chili's with a little bar at the back of it. Um, and I'm still being nice because I'm like, okay, I gotta get the coat. I can't be mean to you. And J2, meanwhile, is like, I'm gonna jump this bitch. I'm gonna jump over there and just grab your coat. We're gonna be out of here. And I did kind of want to see that. Finally, someone else comes and picks up a black coat, and then he's like, "Oh, well, I only have one black coat back here now." And I was like, "So you only had two black coats back there, and you couldn't just show me the two coats and let me tell you which one was mine?" Anyway, so we go back to the hotel, and the night ends with my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful friend Adam driving up to Boston to come get me because at that point I was like, cut my losses. I'm done with this city. I'm just done. I'm out of here. He came up and drove me back home so that I could at least wake up on my own bed on New Year's Day. Kudos to one of my best friends, Jay, and the lovely J2, who I am now friends with. Because they definitely saved the night for me. So it wasn't, it was not horrible, and we got a lot of funny stories. But I have something to say to you, Boston gays, and your chili con carne bars, and your weird pony play Oreo spearing bars, and whatever else. I will be back. I am going back to Boston. This is now a challenge for me. Okay, I'm gonna drive the incredible distance of what 35 minutes, and I will conquer that little clicky crowd that you all have going on up there. Mark me, because I am 2012 is the year I become a Shakespearean villain. Mark me, I am coming for you. Okay, I'm coming back, and I'm not going to wear the dorky glasses either. I mean business this time. I am going to come, and I am going to leave my coat at home. That's all.